The dynamic duo Rodgers and Hammerstein. Richard Rodgers was a truly gifted composer. He was born in New York City. Music filled his early life. He knew he wanted to write for the theatre. Before Oscar Hammerstein II, he had another partner. This was Lorenz Hart, a clever lyricist. Together, Rodgers and Hart created many hit songs. Their shows were popular in the 1920s and 1930s. Oscar Hammerstein II was a master of words. He wrote lyrics and also the stories for musicals. He came from a theatrical family. His grandfather was an opera impresario. Hammerstein believed musicals could tell important stories. He wanted to write about real people and emotions. Before Rodgers, he worked with composers like Jerome Kern. With Kern, he wrote the famous musical. The partnership of Rodgers and Hammerstein began in the early 1940s. Both men were looking for new directions. This partnership would change Broadway forever. A Golden Era Remembered. The 2003 Tribute Edition. The year 2003 marked a special time for musical theatre fans. It was a time to celebrate Rodgers and Hammerstein. A special tribute edition helped people remember their genius. This tribute highlighted their incredible body of work. It aimed to honour their lasting impact on Broadway. Many events and releases focused on their legacy. The tribute was a way to say thank you. It recognised their unparalleled contributions to the art form. This 2003 tribute edition was created for several reasons. One important reason was the 60th anniversary of their first collaboration premiered in 1943. This show had revolutionised musical theatre. The anniversary was a perfect moment for reflection. It was also a time to introduce their work to new fans. Their songs and stories still resonated strongly. The tribute ensured their flame continued to burn brightly. The tribute aimed to achieve several important goals. It sought to educate a younger generation. It also offered a nostalgic journey for older audiences. A Revolutionary Dawn, premiered on Broadway in 1943. It was the very first Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. The show was an immediate and massive success. It was unlike anything audiences had seen before. It told a simple story about American frontier life. The characters were relatable and their struggles felt real. This musical marked a turning point for Broadway. It established a new model for musical storytelling, changed musicals in fundamental ways. Before this show, musicals were often light entertainment. Songs were sometimes loosely connected to the plot. Rodgers and Hammerstein integrated song, dance, and story seamlessly. Every musical number served to advance the narrative. The lyrics revealed character and motivation. The music evoked the setting and the emotions. This integration created a more cohesive theatrical experience. One key element was its innovative use of dance. Agnes de Mille choreographed the show. Her dances were not just for spectacle. Section 4, Carousel and South Pacific Expanding Horizons. After, Rodgers and Hammerstein continued to innovate. Their second musical which opened in 1945. This show explored even deeper and darker themes. It was based on Ferenc Molnar's play. The story involved domestic violence and redemption. The main character, Billy Bigelow, was complex and flawed. This was a bold choice for a musical. It showed their willingness to tackle difficult subjects. Featured some of Rodgers' most beautiful music. The score was rich and emotionally powerful. One of its most famous pieces is Billy's soliloquy. This extended musical sequence reveals Billy's thoughts. He imagines what it would be like to be a father. The song You'll Never Walk Alone became an anthem. It offered a message of hope and resilience. Was a favourite of Richard Rodgers himself. In 1949, Rodgers and Hammerstein presented. This musical was based on James A. Missioner's book, told stories from World War II. The musical addressed the serious issue of racial prejudice. Section 5. The King and I and the Sound of Music, Enduring Classics. Rodgers and Hammerstein continued their golden run into the 1950s. In 1951, they brought to the stage. This musical was based on Margaret Landon's novel. The novel was. It told the story of a British governess in Siam. Anna Leonowens goes to teach the king's children. The musical explored the clash and connection of cultures. It featured a strong, independent female protagonist. Dealt with themes of tradition versus modernity. It explored understanding between East and West. The relationship between Anna and the king was central. It was complex, often challenging, but ultimately respectful. The score included magnificent songs like Shall We Dance? Getting to Know You and Hello, Young Lovers are also famous. The show was known for its beautiful costumes and sets. It offered a visually stunning theatrical experience. Their final collaboration was in 1959. This musical would become one of their most famous works. Section 6. Whispers from the Wings. Anecdotes and lasting echoes. Rodgers and Hammerstein had a unique working relationship. Typically, composers write music, then lyricists add words. However, Hammerstein often wrote lyrics first. He would craft the words and the dramatic situation. Then Rodgers would compose the music to fit them. Rodgers said this was a challenge, but it worked. He found Hammerstein's lyrics deeply inspiring. This method helped ensure songs felt integral to the story. Both men were known for their meticulous professionalism. They were deeply committed to the quality of their shows. They paid attention to every detail of production. Hammerstein was also a generous mentor to many. Stephen Sondheim was one of his famous protégés. Hammerstein taught Sondheim the principles of lyric writing. He emphasized clarity, character, and subtext. Their dedication set a high standard for Broadway. The legacy of Rodgers and Hammerstein extends far beyond their shows. They established the Rodgers and Hammerstein organization. This organization manages the rights to their works.